Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to start off with our public hearing for our fiscal year 2024 amended budget. So meeting called to order at 7 p.m. Kim, can you do roll call, please?
Noreen Friedrich. Here. Adam Hemken.
Here.
Andrea Corey. Here. Kelly Moyer is absent tonight. Greg Meyer.
Here.
Lisa Schumacher.
Here.
Tyson Search.
Here.
You have a
All
quorum.
right, we have a quorum. Thank you very much. If everybody would stand with me and we'll please recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the presentation of the fiscal year 25 amended budget. Dr. Grody, would you be so kind?
Yes, I emailed it out to y'all. We had it on display for the last 30 days. There's been no comments, questions, or concerns brought to me regarding that. You will see that the Ed Fund is $734,000 in the red, and the O&M is $112,000 in the red. However, we did buy that $575,000 ELA curriculum and the scoreboards, which were unbudgeted. So as we prepare for next year's budgets, I believe that all of the surprises are out of there. We've got the new financial software, and so I expect that everything will be in line. Given the budget as it stands, the $25 million, this is not that huge, but we can. I think next year will be much better.
Perfect. All right. Any questions from the board? And I don't see any public, so any public comments?
There are no
Still have to
public
give everybody an
here.
opportunity. All right, hearing no question from the board, no public comments, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn from our public hearing.
I'll make the motion. It's
Have a
Andrea.
motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich.
Yes.
Adam Hemken.
Yes.
And Andrea Corey.
Yes.
Greg Meyer.
Greg?
Greg
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes, sorry.
Lisa Schumacher.
Yes.
Tyson Search.
Yes.
Perfect. That concludes our meeting at 8:02 p.m. I'm sorry, 7:02 p.m. All right. And we'll go right into our regular scheduled meeting. Call that meeting to order now at 8:03 p.m. and need another roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich.
Here.
Adam Hemken.
Here.
Andrea Corey.
Here.
Kelly Moyer is absent. Greg Meyer.
Here.
Lisa Schumacher.
Here.
Tyson Search.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, we still have a quorum. Fantastic. Welcome, visitors. I don't see any. Welcome to anybody online tuning in. Thank you for joining us. One more time for public comments. Nobody's there, so nope. All right, correspondence, I believe, is in the packet, and we'll move right on to our consent agenda. Back to you, Dr. Grody.
All right, well, you've got your minutes and the financial reports. We've got a few resignations. Amy Cook and Laura Simmons are both going to be retiring at the end of the 28-29 school year, so they're putting in for the pipeline for retirement. Deborah Bollinger has resigned as our cook. Laura Simmons and Sarah Klein are both resigning from their positions as head track coach and assistant track coach, but you'll see what's going to happen is they're actually going to be switching. Sarah will become the head track coach and Laura will become the assistant track coach. Jessica Packard's resigning for the after prom sponsor, and Megan McMullen has resigned as a paraprofessional. We do have two paraprofessionals that we are hiring, Rachel Gropey and Ashley Schwartz. Certified personnel, Patrick Baker would be coming back as for PE and health at the high school. Maddie Herman has requested a leave of absence, as has Dasani Gruen, both for starting of the school year. And then, as I said, Laura Simmons will be employed as the middle school assistant track coach, and Sarah Klein is the middle school head track coach. And so we are still looking for a cook and an after prom sponsor. Given all of that, the administration recommends the board approves the consent agenda as presented.
All right. Any questions, comments, concerns from the board? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. It's Noreen.
All right, thank you. And roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hemken,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 6 is our communications reports and presentations. The enrollment report is in your packet, and we'll start with our administrative reports and go on to our assistant superintendent report. Dr. Gainey.
Okay, wow, we are in June. Cannot believe that the month is going as fast as it's going. The first thing I would like to share with you is our admin retreat successfully went off without a hitch last week. I will say that I think all of us were a little worried about what was going to happen since we've never had one before, especially myself because I was kind of leading it. But it was amazing. I will say at the end, everybody said that was exactly what our team needed. This picture was a picture of us going to the escape room, which was an amazing opportunity for us because everybody was so engaged. Like I will say when we have regular admin meetings, sometimes it's hard to be engaged because your mind is in so many places. People didn't have their cell phones out. People were not on their devices. We were in engaged conversation all week. And it was tremendous. And I can say that everybody in that picture gave me the same feedback. So I'm so thankful we had the opportunity to do that. And I think they're willing to do another one. I was a little worried, but I think we're all on the same page and we're excited to continue working together. Other thing I wanted to talk to you about is library is still on the forefront of my work. Since the beginning of the year, there have been questions about how we select our books, how we reconsider our books, what are our processes, our policies. So I had the opportunity to meet with our Heartland Library System School Liaison, Leah Gregory, and she came in and she spoke to me. She brought some examples of different media literacy plan or media center plans that other schools had. So I went ahead and I sat down and I generated one that I feel like we can use in our district across all 4 of our buildings to give us some consistency. I know everybody has the plan, but just for anybody that might be viewing it, I just wanted to briefly say this plan is broken into 3 components. The first component starts really on page 3, where we talk about our selection procedures. How do we select our books? How do we decide what goes into our collections? And that process really goes all the way down to almost the bottom of page 6. And then the second component of the plan is the reconsideration of materials. What do we do if there is a complaint on a book? We definitely need to have a process. We need to have a team of people come together, administration, the district librarian, board member, community members, to decide if the book should be on the shelves or not on the shelf. The other thing that is very interesting about this reconsideration policy and procedure is that once a book is in this process, you cannot relook at that book for 4 years. So it takes another 4 years before that book can be questioned. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then the last part of this plan is an appendix, which has several different resources in it that we can use to help with our processes and procedures. I will also say that, like we've been talking about the Bill of Rights, that has come up several times in conversations. That is something that I use for some of our resources. As a board and administration, we need to come together next month to talk about how we want our library media policy to look. Because we have to put something in there about censorship, that we don't censor books. So either we generate our own comment in the policy or we bring the Bill of Rights back. So that is something that I want you to be thinking about before we come back to the next board meeting in July. But I definitely wanted to share this with you because I do think it's something that we needed. I think it's going to help. I will also say that our 3 paraprofessional librarians that we have are set up for training in September. So they're going to be able to get a wealth of information on some library policies and procedures from other librarians across the state. I'm excited about that. This is my big piece. Do you guys have any questions before I talk about the other pieces of my presentation?
When you said that, like, next meeting that we're gonna have to have some input, like, are you gonna give us proposed language that would be?
Yes, yes.
Before that, so like, we can compare that to the Bill of Rights and
Absolutely,
figure out? Okay.
yes. What I will do is I will share that communication with you guys, so you guys can start, and if you have any one-on-one questions you wanna ask me, we can have those conversations, and I can bring that information to the board meeting.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we're going to create our Bill of Rights and do all this before we hire the librarian?
Well, I wanted to get this done just in conversation with the Heartland System liaison. She said that having a process and procedure will probably bring more people that want to apply because they know you have something there. Fully open to the fact that we can look at this when we have somebody in the district, but right now we have 3 people that are already running our libraries, and we probably need to have some process and procedure in place for them. That was kind of the thought behind it.
So I have one other question.
Sure.
So in the complaint area,
Yes.
there's a statement that says part of the communication to the parent complaining or whatever is that persons with a complaint will be reminded that parents, guardians have the right to determine the appropriateness of library resources for their children and should afford the same right to other families.
Sure.
So if I take the first part of that sentence before the and should afford the same right to other families, that implies that we're giving parents basically insight into what their kids are being exposed to at the library. How would parents know what books are in that library?
Well, and that is also, I'm glad you're bringing that up. We also have language in our handbooks that also specify that it is to the discretion of the parents. And we don't have a list of books right now per library with all of our collections, but that also goes back to the fact our collections should support where our curricular goals are at in a school library, because a school library should be ran differently than a public library. So really, it's a case-by-case basis. No, I don't have a list that can be sent home based upon the collections, but if there's a book that goes home and it is being questioned, then we would have this reconsideration process to look at the book and see if it is something we should have in our school library.
Is there no way to have like an online?
That is something
library?
that I could definitely look into. I'm not there yet. I know
this is all beginning stage. It's just a question.
No, absolutely. I know with classroom libraries, you can put, teachers have the option to put all of their classroom books in like online libraries, so parents would have that ability to look at the books in the libraries. I am not sure if school districts do that with their own building libraries. That's a great question, but one that I could look into. Absolutely.
Because I think if we don't have
Sure.
any way, then we're really not allowing parents to be proactive in making that determination.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
there's kind of a conflicting statement. It's open, and then you get to object after they've been exposed.
Sure.
And that's not really giving the parent the ability or the privilege to determine the appropriateness, because some will tell you these areas I don't want my child to see if they are, 7 years old.
Sure.
But they have no way of knowing whether those things are in there. The other question that came to mind was, you said that teachers may have libraries in their own classrooms. I think if teachers are going to have private libraries,
Sure.
then that's in conflict with our community district library concept, because they are then not regulated. There's information that is not part of the process because it's a private library. So I think we're going to have to find some parameters there
Sure.
as to how to oversee any teachers that want to bring things in, whether it's a portal that says these are books that have been brought in, or however, but we need a process. If we're going to go this far and have our entire library structured and overseen,
Sure.
then having, one-off random avenues for things to be brought in at will is kind of contrary to the intent.
I agree completely. And what I find so interesting, like our ELA program that we just purchased, we have libraries that go and are aligned with the curriculum that we just purchased to help with those classroom libraries. I feel like a lot of the classroom libraries that have been created have been for small reading groups and for the benefit of their ELA. But you're right, maybe we should be structuring those because we're overseeing our building libraries. And I definitely think the curriculum we purchased and going in that path will put parameters up in the classroom libraries as well.
I do want to say, like, thank you for heading this up and doing all of the work that you're doing, because it, like, these suggestions, I just want you to know, like, I appreciate that you're doing this, because it's a lot. I do, and it will be a lot if we organize it and structure it that way to do some sort of online, you know, it's gonna be a lot up front. But I feel like in the end, as we continue with it, if we can get to that point, I think it would be really helpful for parents. But thank you for everything you're already doing.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. I think that it is a lot of work, and it's overwhelming some days, but I definitely think we're going to reap the benefits of it, and I think it's going to bring a structure and a research center, that's kind of my hope, for the district that's going to be fruitful for the students.
So I'm not done yet.
Oh, no, I'm fine with that. What else do you have?
So another part of this is, well, right after that same statement, it says no instructional media center resources will be removed or restricted from circulation as a result of an informal complaint. So during the complaint process,
Sure.
do you pull it until it's done, or do you leave it accessible until the final decision's made?
How I interpreted it, but that's that we can definitely discuss that, is that it would be out until informal and formal complaint process is complete. Because we've not made that decision yet. It is in process of either staying on the shelf or being removed from the shelf. That is how I interpreted it, but because I also feel like there is a fine line of, we do want the parents to have the discretion. And like I was saying before, in the handbooks, we did also add language to allow for parents to contact the librarian to then alert in the circulation system that students should not check out books of that topic if their parents choose to not allow them to check out books on a certain topic. But I also think it's important that, again, we have to align our instructional and curricular goals with our library. And I think that that's kind of been missed in the planning of the collections, because we haven't had the appropriate training, which I feel like we're trying to do to make the process better for our students.
One last question.
Sure.
So on the
I'm ready, I think.
on the reconsideration process,
Sure.
it talks about a reconsideration team.
Uh-huh.
And then there's basically a teacher, when applicable, school librarian, superintendent or assistant superintendent, the board member, educational chair, committee chair. I assume we will have to stand one of those up if we're going to do that. And then a formal one. And then designated community member with pertinent professional credentials. Is this I'm just trying to understand this process, because it doesn't seem consistent with how we manage everything else in the school.
Sure, absolutely.
That this is now a majority vote decision on what's going to happen with our materials.
With the book that's in question. I do feel like there needs to be some sort of consensus of a collective group, and that is how the procedures have been done in other districts, and that is why it's written in that manner. How are you thinking it should be done, and how things have been done historically in the district?
It was just more of a question / concern. I don't necessarily know what I would say looks optimal.
Sure.
But I think if we have a librarian, we have a superintendent, we have a board,
Sure.
and we have teachers, what I would probably not be in support of bringing a community member in.
Sure.
If we need an odd number, I would think we would bring in either the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, or another library para or aide, or another staff member.
Sure. And I think that is a completely fair comment, because all I want to make sure there is a collective process and there's a consensus, and we're getting not just one opinion, because I think it definitely sits better when you're getting multiple opinions when you're making decisions like that. So absolutely.
It's an interesting point, though, because you said it's not consistent with other, and I'm trying to think of any other system we have where there's a reconsideration of any like this is. I'm trying to think of something that's
When people
already currently doing that in our processes that's similar to this.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any of those.
Yeah, I
all
don't
of
think
them
that
are
there's a
pretty
similar
much you go to
system.
the administration, and then if you don't like their decision, you come to the board.
Right. Yeah.
Which I get that this one you want to make it a little bit more,
Yeah.
a little bit more diverse as far as the skills, specific skill sets represented in this decision process. I kind of get that, but
Sure.
all the other stuff, we do that during the initial processes. That's, every other objection a parent has to what happens in the school goes to the experts or the teachers and the aides or whatever in those areas. And then it goes up to the administration or maybe involve them. And then if they don't like it, then basically we're the reconsideration process. So, I mean, I get that the library system at large likes to keep things with, consistent with the library systems, but it is a totally different approach to something. I'm not saying good, bad, or otherwise. I'm not sure if this is a precedent we want to start setting.
Sure, absolutely. Well, and I will tell you that even on the Heartland Library System, one of the things that I think generated our challenges on the forefront of this year is a book was questioned. And when you don't have a process, when you have a book questioned, then I think there are bigger challenges that come that are maybe not foreseen. And even the individual that I met with that was super supportive, she said, even on the website, we have kind of a pathway. If you have a book question and you don't have a process, and you have a book question and you do have a process. So I guess really, as collectively, as a board, we really have to decide how we want to continue moving forward. I do think having policies and processes do make things easier to handle, especially when challenges arise. But this is what I am bringing forth to help continue to support our library systems. And I am happy to continue answering questions and taking feedback, because that's only going to make us better as a district.
So I think my recommendation after thinking on it for a few more minutes is I think a content area instructional teacher is not going to be an objective view, because typically they're already going to have an opinion on it. So I would recommend that one as like an advisor, and then maybe just a three vote panel of the school librarian, the superintendent or administrator, and a board member. And that way you do have, because if you have someone that was already involved in the selection process or that assigned the material, then that's not an objective vote.
Sure.
They're going to have an opinion before it even starts. So
Absolutely.
I think the others won't have been part of the process up front. I mean, the librarian will, but that's their job, right? And I mean, you can always bring people in as advocates or advisors or whatever, but that would be my recommendation.
Sure. So flexibility with the team, but keeping a team, just being flexible with who is on the team, maybe making some adjustments there. Sounds good. Any other questions? Okay. I'm gonna continue moving forward. Some exciting news. As I have shared for quite a few months, our STEM class is becoming more amazing by the day. We are going to be using the PLTW Project Lead the Way curriculum for the STEM class. That is a huge amount of money that normally is needed for that curriculum, but you can apply for grants through Project Lead the Way, and Mrs. Haven did that, and we are receiving a $9,000 grant for the Project Lead the Way curriculum, which allows us to get more of those innovative items for her projects in the classroom. So I'm super excited and so proud of everything Mrs. Haven is doing. Another thing we are super excited about is we have been looking into VR headsets for the STEM classroom, which I'm not sure if you've ever seen what VR headsets can do in a science classroom, but it is amazing. My head always goes to human anatomy and physiology. It's just because I was initially a nursing major, but then went back to education. But you can do dissections, you can do so many really cool things using a VR headset. So we are going to be getting a class set to be added to the STEM class, which will be on a cart, which means other science classes in the middle school will be able to utilize this tool as well in their classes. We are super excited about that. And lastly, but certainly not least, we do have new hires. You've been hearing about that on our agendas for the last couple of months. June 25th, which is next Wednesday, we are excited to have a meet and greet from 9 to 12:15 because we do have Mrs. Klein. She retired, but only for a few short weeks, and she's coming back to be our coordinator for the new staff. And she has been working with me since probably April. And her idea was, can we just get together on June 25th so I can see them and meet them? I said, absolutely. And we added a Columbia tour. So I have Mrs. Marla Rose coming from the city, and she's going to get on an activity bus with us, and we're going to go on a tour together. We're going to see all 4 buildings on the campus, and she's going to do some highlights. I reached out to Marla a couple days ago, and she goes, I am just now putting together where we're going to go. Very excited. I thought it would be neat to have a community member come and do that tour with us. And then our actual induction days, even though the 25th, next Wednesday, is going to be super fun, will be Monday, July 21st and Tuesday, July 22nd. And Mrs. Klein has all of those days set up, and we've got some amazing things planned for our new staff. Very exciting. And that is my report. Any additional questions?
Are you going to have any other current teachers with them?
Yes, they all have mentors.
Okay.
So that will be on July 21st and 22nd. They're going to be meeting with their certified mentors. Mrs. Klein is going to be the coordinator, and those mentors are going to partner with those new hires as well. And then hopefully, if administrators are available, they have been invited June 25th, but because we all had busy summers, there's no pressure on that. But Dr. Grody and Dr. Gainey will be there.
Yes, we will.
Awesome. Any other questions for Dr. Gainey? All right, good. Thank you. And thank you for all the work on the library information. I know that's a ton of work, and that's exactly why we put it off so we can get our ducks in a row. So thank you for lining up our ducks.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you.
At least getting them started anyway.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. All right, and we'll move on to our superintendent report. Dr. Grody.
Yes, well, we have been, as you know, funding a construction project at the high school. Tonight, the first action item is actually going to be setting up the sale to debt certificates to be able to sell bonds. I'm glad to say that we had an A+ rating from the review, and so our bonds will be able to be sold with that nice rating, so that's a good thing. We are closing out this fiscal year, and we are closing out this school year, getting the data sent up to the state, and we have the budget we're going to be passing today, and then soon we'll be passing the budget for next school year. We switched over our financial software, and this is going to be the first year we'll be fully with all sides, payroll and accounts payable with Link and Skyward Q. We went over to that last year, and so listening to Dr. Gainey's report and talking about the retreat and everything, you know, it was a good experience because we are learning how the team works, and we're coming up with systems on how the team works. The library, it's a system. The payroll, it's a system. All of these things are systems, and we are slowly tweaking it out. And for the superintendent's report, I'm thinking, well, what do we do? But you'd be amazed at the amount of time we spend, like, had a discussion about rolling over for the next vacation leave. Vacation leave starts on July 1st for school districts. So your 12-month employees get vacations. Well, I'm getting requests for vacations, and they're going into the negative amounts on my little sheet because they haven't gotten their July 1st vacations yet. And if they apply for a vacation on July 7th or July 8th, well, they haven't gotten that vacation day yet, but I still have to approve it because they have to take it. So these little tiny details we're still working out and trying to get all of the pieces to work properly within our system and getting used to the new system. And it's a good process, and I'm looking forward to getting it all figured out. We're going to be setting up some of our Skyward a little better so that we'll have an easier time reporting the reports to the state next year. Kimberly Johnson has been working tirelessly on making sure the data is correct, and we're hoping that next year she'll have to work a little less tirelessly. Is that the right way to say it? That it'll be easier next year, because every year is that's the goal, is to make it a little bit easier. And so that's really the superintendent's report. Working on a lot of little systems.
Exactly. I love the improvements. That's awesome. All right, we'll move on to our items for action. We've got a lot of stuff to do this evening, so we'll get right into it. Item A is a big one, the approval of the resolution providing for the issue and sale of not to exceed 31 million of debt certificates to alter, repair, and equip district facilities.
Yes, and this will finish out the amount of money needed for that high school project. So the administration recommends that you provide for the issue and sales of not to exceed 31 million of debt certificates.
Are any questions from the board, concerns, comments? I know we've discussed this matter at great length, and to get to this point in time, and it's exciting to see all the progress. So
The only thing I'll say is Stiefel, our bond counsel, and Chapman, our the legal counsel that goes with this, would very much like for the board to read the resolution as I've provided.
Yeah, I'll do that once I realize if there's no question.
Gotcha.
All right, hearing none, so I move that the resolution providing for the issues and sale of not to exceed 31 million of debt certificates to alter, repair, and equip district facilities be approved.
well put. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. And Kim, roll call, please.
Adam Hempkin,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Surge,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next item is B, our approval for the auditing services.
Yeah, we went out, we asked for auditors. I truly believe with the systems that we are working on and getting fresh eyes, we've been with Schmershel for a long time. I would like for the board to approve Shuffle Boyle as our district auditors. Questions, concerns?
If there are no questions, I'll make the motion.
Well, that was fast. Any questions? All right.
But I'll
Mrs.
second.
Court made a motion. Do we hear a second?
Adam seconds.
All right. And roll call, please.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Surge,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hempkin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. Item C is our approval for the fiscal year 25 amended school budget. Dr.
Yeah,
Carter, you walk us through that.
and we talked about it at the hearing. There's been no comments, questions, or concerns for it, so administration recommends the board approve the amended school budget as presented.
All right, perfect. I didn't hear any questions from the board during the hearing. Is there any questions now? Hearing none, made me like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 amended school budget.
I'll make the motion, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tyson. A roll call, please.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Surge,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hempkin,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. Item D is the approval for the intergovernmental agreement with DuPo, CSUD number 196 for the electrical pathway courses.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Dr. Yaney talk to the next three because they're rather curricular related.
They are. So this is our first intergovernmental agreement and the newest one that we are partnering with DuPo. In your intergovernmental agreements that you received, there are highlighted sections. Those are the updates to the previous intergovernmental agreements that you have had with DuPo. Pretty much the biggest change is that we are going to pay based on the proration of how many students we have attending. And with the electrical intergovernmental agreement, we'll be paying for 2 instructional hours because we have enough students to make up 2 classes for the electricians classes on the DuPo campus. We're very excited about that, and we definitely wanted to make sure we updated all of our agreements because they needed updating. So that is one reason we have 3 on here tonight. Any questions about this one? This is what we will be paying DuPo for our students to attend their electricians program through the Union 309.
All right, any questions regarding electrical pathway courses? I would like to make a comment real quick. This is a great thing for our district, and thank you so much for working on it. This is a major accomplishment, so thank you.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm excited about all that we're going to do.
And is Local 309, are they providing an instructor, or are they providing material for a DUPO teacher to instruct?
It is an electrician from the union that is bringing the curriculum with them, so it's both.
Okay.
It is not
And
a
they,
DUPO instructor.
We went over to Dupo to kind of see the room and everything, and they've got the fake walls and the fake panels that they have to wire and everything. They got that from SWIC. And so it looks very much like a junior college
Yeah.
electrical
Like vocational
apprentice
classroom.
place, yeah.
Yeah, like Greg, I'm very excited to see this, so.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely. All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the Intergovernmental Committee or agreement, for the Electrical Pathways course?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Tyson. Second.
I'll second, Lisa.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Roll call, please.
Tyson Search,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hemken,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Item E is the approval for the intergovernmental agreement with DUPO regarding for German language courses. Dr. Gainey, back to you.
Yes, so this is likewise, we are having DUPO students come and take some German courses with us. So again, we are going to have DUPO pay us a prorated amount based upon the students that are interested in and are coming to those classes. And again, it was highlighted in green, any of those changes, not many changes made from the previous one, but again, we were creating one and we wanted to update the other two as well.
So is that only at the high school level?
Yes, yes, currently at the high school level.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with DUPO for German language courses?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Andrea. Second.
I'll second. Noreen.
Thank you, Noreen. Perfect. All right. Roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hemken,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Let's go for 3 here. The next one is approval for the intergovernmental agreement with DUPO for agricultural education courses.
And again, this is DUPO students coming to our campus for our ag classes that their students are interested in. They will be paying us a prorated amount based upon the students that would be attending. I also want to say what's so important about these intergovernmental agreements is we also get state vocational money for the students that are attending these classes. So it's extremely important to make sure all of our documentation is straight, because with our students going to the electricians program, our students will be considered DUPO students in those programs, and then they would get additional vocational money from the state, which is going to help the program that our students are attending. And likewise, we could do that with ag if we could make ag a career pathway as well.
Which is in the pipeline.
So with the ag classes, would that affect the FFA? Would DUPO students be eligible to be part of Columbia's FFA, or?
That is a
Would
great
that
question.
affect that?
I am not sure if that has been done previously. I can't answer that tonight, but I would be happy to get information on that to see if we could grow our FFA program based upon the students that come. I don't know if that's been done. Do you know, Dr. Grody, if
I
that's
have
been
no
done
idea.
in the past?
No, but I do know that like the ROTC program
Is, yeah.
is joint, and so like the students that do the flag ceremonies at our football games or at those various events, typically there are students, but sometimes if they can't fill in, a DUPO student will come over and do that, so
Yeah,
I would think that
that's a
they'd
good
be,
question.
Yeah, I was just curious, because I believe that's the criteria for being part of FFA, is just taking an ag class. So
Correct.
I was just curious
Yeah.
if DUPO students would then be
And then we-
eligible to be part of Columbia's FFA.
Just like the ROTC. Yeah. Good question.
Great question. All right, any other great questions? Comments? All right, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with DUPO for agricultural educational courses?
I'll make the motion. This out.
All
I'll
right,
second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Me.
Tyson.
Thank you. Adam Hemken,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Item G is approval of the extended to extend the term of the Miss Vic Employee Benefits Pool.
Yeah, this is that yearly test that we do, and as we've reviewed this historically, we would like to stay continued with our benefits pool. So administration recommends the board approve or extend the terms of the Ms. Vic Employment Benefits Pool.
A little background on this, when Scott Middlecamp was on the board, him and I and Dr. Grody pretty extensively reviewed these agreements and shopped our coverage and that sort of thing, and we couldn't find anybody to touch it. So it has been kind of a housekeeping issue to continue with them, and I don't see any changes in that. So
Yeah, over the last 10 to 12 years, Ms. Vic's has been either below or right at 5% increases, so, which is very good.
yeah. Right. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the extension of the term for the Miss Vic Employee Benefit Plan pool? Excuse me.
I'll make the motion, Lisa.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Tyson. All right, roll call, please.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hempkin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect, thank you. Item H is the approval to extend the term of the Ms. Vic Property and Casualty Pool.
And this goes along with the employee benefits. It's the property, it's the buildings, it's the vehicles. And administration-
Liability.
Yeah, liability. Administration would recommend that we stay with Ms. Vic. We extend it.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the extension of the term for the Ms. Vic Property Casualty Pool?
I'll make the motion. Noreen.
Noreen, thank you, Noreen. Second?
I'll second.
All right, I'm not sure who that was, but thank you.
That was
Andrea.
Andrea Corey.
Sorry.
Oh, Andrew, thank you, Andrew. Perfect. All right, roll call, please.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hempkin,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. We're going to go 3 for 3 on this one too, hopefully. So the next one is the approval to, actually, this is a different one. Approval to appoint a Miss Vic Employee Benefit and Property Casualty Pool Board members.
Yes. So now that we are extending with their employee benefits and the property casualty, I would recommend that the board assign the superintendent, Chris Grody, as the acting board member, as I have since I've been here.
I was going to volunteer Dr. Grody anyway, so that's perfect. Any questions, comments? All right, maybe I'd like to make a motion to approve Dr. Grody for the board of the Miss Vic Property Casualty Employee Benefit Pool.
You have to name an alternate for that as well.
Oh, I would say, and if there, Kimberly's saying we need an alternate as well, and so I would think Dr. Gainey would be the alternate.
I love that idea.
Me too.
I'll make that motion.
Perfect. All right, second?
I'll second.
Is that Andrea?
Noreen.
Great, man. You two, I'm having a really hard time with them. Sorry. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. That carries. Last item is
2 items
the
left.
approval for the 2025-26 school handbook for all schools.
Yeah, and these, you've got presented, building principals all go over it, we all look over it. And then historically, this is when Mrs. Schumacher tells
I
me
do
of a
have
few,
one
a
correction.
few details that I have missed. And so we'll add, so I recommend that we approve the handbooks with Ms. Schumacher's corrections.
There's only one. It's not Leah Harris, it's Leah Ferris at the middle school as the secretary. Should be an F instead of an H.
There is always,
And that's a big thing
Something,
when you're
no.
messing with somebody's name.
yeah, I kid you not, Dr. Gady, did I not say the handbooks will have Ms. Schumacher, she'll find something.
I do have one request.
Because I only read the new stuff. I didn't
Okay.
read all of it because how many years have we gone through these?
Yeah, that there be red line versions.
Red line versions in the future. See, these are the systems of making things better.
There were, stuff was in red and bold, black.
Well, the additions,
Yeah, additions.
but any revisions that are made aren't identified.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the 2025-26 student handbook for all schools?
I'll make the motion, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Second.
I'll second.
All right, there's money in the handbook, so let's go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Noreen Friedrich,
Yes.
Adam Hemken.
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. All right, item K is the second reading and approval of the board policy press issue 118.
Administration recommends that we approve the press policies as presented. I had no comments, questions, or concerns brought up about any of them.
Perfect. Any comments from the board, questions? Hearing none, maybe like to make a motion to approve the second reading of the press pass board policy 118.
I'll make the motion. It's Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Second?
And I'll second. It's Andrea.
Andrea? All right, okay. Roll call, please.
Adam Hemken,
Yes.
Andrea Corey,
Yes.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Lisa Schumacher,
Yes.
Tyson Search,
Yes.
Noreen Friedrich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, that concludes the most of our work here, and we'll go on to our discussion items, starting with the facility study.
I have been very happy with how things are progressing, given the weather that we've had. When you go inside, things are moving quite nicely. I will say that next month, I will have some details regarding a ribbon cutting, because we're getting close to August starting, and I would like to have a ribbon cutting and allow people to come in and which
She doesn't want summer to be over already.
I can't think about school starting again already. I just got out.
life does move pretty quick.
How do you think they feel?
Sorry, I didn't.
So
actually,
yeah,
I didn't have to.
no, next month we will start talking about the August ribbon cutting and getting back into school. We will have the front of the building. I'm looking forward to that fence being down. I'm not looking forward to the fence going up in the back of the building. However, if it works as well as it did this year, I'm excited about that as well. So, Adam, do you have anything to add about the facility?
Sure. So
you did the
the
last walkthrough. I didn't get to attend that.
Yeah, so the flat work for the concrete, I didn't see if they were pouring on Saturday, but they were supposed to pour the last of the flat work. So the auditorium, the place where the choir room is going to be, that has been a ramp since they had to finish building the foundation around the corner. So they should be done with the flat work of the concrete. So that's a huge step. You can see that they're tying in up by Route 3 where it joins the building. So you can really see what that brick looks like. They were power washing and stuff the other day. So I think that is the actual color you're going to see if you look at the brickwork closest to where the elevator is going to go, facing Route 3. The other part of the brick, I don't believe has been completely washed, so the color's a little bit off because it's got all the dust and grout and all that on it. But I'm excited to see it. I don't know that it was necessarily on purpose. Maybe the designers did, but the brick matches the window framing of the existing building almost perfectly, so it ties in nicely. A lot nicer. I was concerned about how it would tie in with the new brick to the old brick. But considering the window casings are almost identical color, it does tie in a lot better than I thought. So with that said, we had a bunch of behind at the entrance to the cafeteria, the little turnaround spot. If you were here a week or so ago, there was a huge trench all the way through that area. They buried all of, I think there's 12 4-inch conduits that they ran around the building to power up the new addition. They've backfilled all of that, and there were no major issues that came upon with that, so we didn't have any grease traps or anything like that getting backed up this time, so that was a good news. That was a good report when we showed up the other day, and they didn't have anything to say other than we dug a trench, we laid the conduit, and we're backfilling. So yeah, so we're just literally laying all of the groundwork to keep things moving, and to make sure we're on track for the 1st of August, so.
I did have a question regarding the construction. There is, when you pull in over by the shop area, they're doing some dirt work in there's poles sticking up. That's where the dumpsters are gonna be going. Because the dumpster, there's those dumpsters where you can donate things. I've always kind of just sat out there. And then the dumpster that we actually throw things away is in the back where the new gym's gonna go. And so what they're gonna do is that's gonna be a concrete floor with walls, and all of the dumpsters are gonna be in there hidden with little doors and gates and everything. So when you're on Route 3 and you're looking at the building, you'll see the back of a dumpster wall, which is gonna look better than the garage door. But that's what's gonna be popping up there.
Yeah, well, it looks like a whole bunch of 6-foot-tall ballards.
Yeah.
Which I assume probably are, because when they drop those dumpsters back in, they're gonna slam that back wall. So if you're like, why are they building a fortress? Well, it's because they're planning on dumpsters hitting the backside of that wall, because that always happens.
Yes.
But it's gonna be a nice decorative exterior. So the view from Route 3 is going to be improved, even though we're putting more dumpsters in between the building and it.
Yeah.
So. And I think, yeah, so I don't think there's anything else. Another stairwell should have gone in this week. So, yeah, it's really starting to look different. I would think next month, even if it's before the ribbon cutting, we should probably do offer another walkthrough for the group to see the difference, because it's pretty eye-opening to see it now versus when we saw it last time, when it was kind of hard to really visualize what each space was going to look like, and how big things were when you don't really have any walls, and the utility, because drywall's going in and all kinds of stuff now, so it's awesome.
All right. I'll look for a July walkthrough. That was it though, Greg?
Awesome. Nope, I don't have anything else. Anything else? All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. We'll move on to B, individual board member comments. Anybody have anything they want to share this evening? Nope. Quiet crowd tonight. All right. Board's prerogative. I have to apologize for not being there in person. That was not my intention. The flights did not work out like I was hoping. So, yeah, appreciate you guys indulging me and letting me participate remotely. So. And I do not believe we have anything for executive session, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, this was added. All right. Well, that is pretty much all the meeting. The last thing to do is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion. It's Andrea.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Noreen, since we said.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our meeting is adjourned. The time is 7:52 p.m. Thank you all for